Good. Well, we have a very special panel for you with some very special guests right now. Our next guests are the graphic artists that created all the graphic prop designs in the Harry Potter films, from the Mysterious Marauders map to the Devilish Monster Book of Monsters. These incredibly talented artists were a huge part of creating the look of the Harry Potter films that we all love. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and help me welcome to the stage MinaLima and Eduardo Lima!
Hello.
Hi.
Anyone from Brazil here?
Thank you. It's a big birthday party. Thank you for coming.
She was really upset that she was not going to be with her family, but look, big family here today.
Thank you. I will expect this every year. So, in case any of you are not quite sure what we do on the Harry Potter films, we've put together a little movie for you of the best of, what we think is the best of moments where the graphics feature in order to help the story, tell the story. And we'd like to share that with you today with music written by our very good friend Alex, who's here with us today. Enjoy.
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
There's no such thing. Anything off the trolley, dears?
You were seen by no less than 7 muggles.
Ronald Weasley! How dare you steal that card?
films.
Can we go now? As you can see, we had quite a lot of fun on the films, and we secretly always wanted to make a film just about graphics, but it doesn't really work, so we kind of got to do it there. And just wanted to share with you those little moments of detail that we need to put into the work to try and help the story move along.
One thing I want to say, that we had an amazing 10 years. It was the best time ever.
Yeah. So we're going to just take you through some of the props that we designed and our process of what we did to get to the final result. You can see here the glamorous studios, where some of you might have been there, where we worked. We had a tiny office, probably just about this big. Two of us for most of the films, and Lauren joined us on the 6th film. This is our wonderful
amazing art department,
led by the brilliant Stuart Craig and Stephanie McMillan, and the dog is also part of it.
Flossie. That was our office.
So, yeah, the day-to-day was pretty much full of humour, but it was going to work. And the fantastic team of prop makers and support for the designs that we made and who was going to make them. So we're just going to share a couple of, many of you have asked us what is our favourite prop, and we each have a particular piece of work that we had to put a lot of work into. And the first one, the first thing, nothing would have happened without this moment in the film.
We wouldn't be here if we didn't get the answer.
It was the first prop I had to design on the first film when I thought I was going to work on the film for 4 months, which turned into 10 years. Quite innocent, really, probably as innocent as that little wizard. Didn't really even have a computer, so a lot of the work is hand done. So the first film was quite basic, really, in the needs, the graphic needs. Then came a really nice design challenge, which
Lima wrote this one.
and this was thank you. This was quite a challenge because we knew we didn't want it to look like a treasure map or a traditional map, and the way we went about it was to think about the characters and what was in their heads. We looked at some interesting reference material, which is a very big part of how we work, is to just walk away from the script and look out for interesting historical material. We also had a duty to Stuart to represent the architecture of Hogwarts. He was very insistent that we showed the exact replication in the shapes of the castle.
And when we started designing the map, we didn't know that the map was going to come back in the other films, so we needed to design in a way that we could keep adding the other parts of the castle.
We wanted to show the complicated layers of the map, and in spite of all the work and the research that we did, we still made mistakes like this one.
We cannot put the room of requirements on the map, and we did.
This was part of the design for quite a long time until somebody spotted that absolutely shouldn't have been shown. So you can see here how it was then resolved to hide the room and still show the corridor. We work a lot by hand and scan in our work, and then a large part of the work is how we age the props so that you as a viewer believe that it has a history, it has a story. So we have a complicated and very secret way of aging the map with coffee.
And we had fun designing the footsteps as well.
Yeah, lots of choices there for the visual effects to worry about. Some outtakes of things that didn't make it into the map, experimenting. We had the fortune of time to experiment a lot with different styles. And I think because Harry Potter's set in the present day, but without a particular period that we had to respect, we were able to look at different periods and styles to inform a particular character or a scene. This didn't make it either. So there's a lot of communication between ourselves and the director, the producer, and the designer, to going backwards and forwards to work out exactly how to come up with a solution. So everything is a team process.
And the other one that we really like is the Daily Prophet. I like to call myself the editor of the Daily Prophet. And even my mom, she was the security editor of the Daily Prophet. And throughout the films, we designed I think over 50 different editions of the Daily Prophet. And in the first 3 films, the style was more whimsical and gothic.
Yeah, it's almost reflecting what the style, the architectural style that Stuart Craig had established in the architecture. Because we were there working right in the middle of the art department, we were able to draw on everything else that was going on in the art department, be it the architecture or the set decoration, or we had a full-time researcher, visual researcher, Celia, who was fantastic and constantly feeding everybody in the department with information, visual information they needed.
And we had to tell the story as well of the Daily Prophet. On the number 4, he was in a bit of a transitional period until the Minister of Magic takes over and becomes more this kind of...
Well, we knew that because the ministry had taken over and we looked to some Russian constructivist propaganda posters because we discussed with the director and they wanted to have that dogmatic feel that nobody had a say anymore, that it was all coming from the ministry. So this was a big influence on the style. And actually, we really liked that period anyway, so it was a good way to draw that in. And this was probably some first
ideas for the new Prophet.
And so, on the whole, as a design style, and I think this also was part of the whole style from Stuart Craig right down, was to take reality and just shift it by a few degrees instead of creating a completely new world. And that way, hopefully, we create an environment that's believable.
But the other funny thing was, on the script was maybe 1 or 2 headlines of the Daily Prophet that was written, and we had to come up with all the other ones. So sometimes we went really try to make funny things.
Well, we would. It was difficult. We're not writers, so you're in a creative environment. You go into the canteen with your co-workers and ask them to come up with some things. And one of our friends was Ginger, so she featured quite a lot in it. And she goes to Azkaban for importing illegal henna. Then she comes out. Oh,
yeah, she's everywhere.
There she is.
She was arrested.
I wish she was here. So we decided there was no point in putting fake words, because if you're going to have shapes, you might as well have the real words, and it helps the actors as well in their process. And they've told us, which is nice to hear, that if they have a prop that is properly a book that has all its pages, they really can feel that they're in the part.
And we made sure that all the pages inside the Daily Prophet had real content. So we had Magical-Menagerie, we have for the weather, we had tokens, we have everything. No?
But again, it's taking a real situation and just shifting it ever so slightly, rather than giving you something completely different. And we felt that was an easier way for an audience to pick up, to relate to something.
He's brilliant, this Dr. Shaman.
He solved a lot of problems for us, I think.
And the other thing we had to do was the adverts, and we went to lots of reference, now the Victorian, see here.
or has one. He actually does have a beer bag.
Yeah. When he used to go to the canteen.
Yeah, you see them in the canteen with the... because the egg on the beard.
And of course, we always try to put our name everywhere, so MinaLima.
There's a lot of friends and family in the work.
That's me, this group is pals.
So
and the other really fun thing was to design all the products for the Weasleys shop.
this was kind of a design dream, really. It was being told that you have to design every single package for a 4-story shop of magical jokes, and which was owned by 2 teenagers who probably didn't have much of a design sense. So we had to throw away all our ideas about what might be tidy and good design, and just make colours clash and printing techniques wrong. And for them it was all about just selling products and being and throwing colour out there, because we hadn't seen much colour.
That's me and Mira. But we had an amazing team helping.
On this film, we had to employ a full-time third person, Lauren, who's not with us here, we miss her, but she and about 5 or 6 elves put together hundreds and hundreds of packets, because we couldn't buy anything, it had to all be original, which you guys will see for 1 minute 20 seconds, I think, on screen. But we never discriminate in our detail between what we call a hero prop, which is something that might be scripted and in someone's hand, like the Morder's map, and something that's in the background, because it's all part of the bigger picture, and we always feel that every prop needs to have the same tension in order to create that magic.
Especially now, after the film's finish and the
yeah, thank God, because now you really do come and scrutinise what we did. So these are some of the tiny packages that were populating that massive store.
And again, we have to come up with lots of new products.
I think we took a few of the products that were from the fiction, and the rest we had to create all the new names and have
Forest, Magical-Menagerie.
I think some of these you actually see in Zonko's. I probably shouldn't be saying that. But again, it's for us, every single design job that we're given on the film, we have to enter the character of that person, or the environment of that place, or the history behind that moment. And it's our duty to try and help tell the story in that one moment with that one piece of graphic, whether it's about how you age something, or whether it's really, I mean, Rita Skeeter's book, for example, is so over the top. I will show you some books now, which is kind of one of our favourite areas of design.
The other thing that we really enjoyed was to design all these school books, like the potion book.
Again, we sometimes, most of the time, we don't really see inside, but most of these books have every single page full of information. Here I had to be Snape's handwriting, and I had to try and imagine how would Snape write. He probably wouldn't have it all tidy and in the same direction, and lots of thinking and scrubbing out, and so
yeah,
I had to go in a dark room and engage.
We made sure that all the books had real content inside, and not just blank pages.
We work closely with bookbinders, so we'd have to try and understand some of the other traditional techniques and processes and crafts, and that's a wonderful experience to be able to go and engage with other craftsmen in their skill. And most of the time in film we're having to fake things, of course, you know, and so we're having to pretend that something's parchment, or that it's
This was fun, you know, because we knew that J.K. Rowling, she wanted a book that looks like a trash. airport novel.
And that was quite difficult for us because, after all, everything else is so rich in the film, but we had to make that one really kitsch. Yeah. And the same with Gilderoy Lockhart's work. We knew he was a fake, so we chose to use these fake skins and to give the impression that he was trying too hard to be who he was. We collect a lot of books and we look at them for reference, both in what the content is, but also how the books are bound and how they age and where they break, and so that we can use that as information to make it correct for the moment.
I am crazy about books. I always collect, but there's a charity shop near my house that I go there every Saturday, and I swear to God there's someone that put the books there for me the day before.
The books are waiting for them.
And I go there and they are there waiting for me. It's incredible. So anyone that wants to become a graphic designer, this is a good...
Yeah, just keep buying books, even visual books. We did a lot of books for Hermione, which sadly you don't really see in the last 2 films. You hear them in her bag, but you just... And again, because of the time and what Harry Potter was, we were able to really push the boat out and make books out of metal and silk and gold leaf, and so we could really push the boundaries of what would normally be expected in a book binding. So that all came to an end for us about 3 years ago, and there were so many images that, just as we said, didn't quite make it onto the screen, and people kept asking what they were, and so we found a way to try and share those things with you as fans, and now there is a way of owning those images as limited edition prints, which some of you might have seen on our booth.
And now you can see how crazy we were with all the details and writing every single thing.
So that's a condensed version of what we did for 10 years.
Nicely done. Thank you guys. Now, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions for these two, and before we do that, you know, it is your birthday today. We have a very special surprise for you. Go ahead and bring that out right now. Come check this out. It's pretty impressive, right? Here's what we're gonna do. Let's get everybody on their feet. Come on, everybody stand up. That includes you. Come on. Come on, man. All right, we're gonna sing a happy birthday on the count of 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mira. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
You should taste it.
I don't like the font on it.
It's okay. Come on back over here. Come on over here. We'll get to that. You guys, that's all for you. Now we're going to open up some questions to you guys out there. Jason, we're going to go ahead and start with you. What do you got, man?
We're over here with my friend Kelly from Milwaukee.
Hi. Happy birthday. Thank you for being here. I was just curious, you had mentioned like some of the books that Hermione had in her bag that didn't make it. Is there anything that you wish you were asked to do that you weren't?
I think honeyjuice would have been we saw so little of it, didn't we? It was just fleeting, and I think if we'd had a chance, because we just love packaging and design. And
But there were lots of other shops as well in this story that we didn't have time to go inside, so maybe there were much more opportunity to design more things for those shops as well.
But if you go to the new park, you might see some of our stuff.
Julia, what do you got?
Okay, I have Rick from Orlando.
Hi again. I'm just wondering if there are any challenges that presented themselves to in the difference between 2D or 3D props and graphics, and which one do you prefer more?
Were there any challenges with the...
Doing work in 2-dimensional versus 3-dimensional.
And which one's your favorite?
We always wanted to complicate things.
I think, I mean, I trained in theatre design, so I was very used to 3D, and Eduardo trained in graphics, so we have quite a good marriage of ideas, and thinking in 3D is just, it's such an invitation to be inventive. I never see it. Don't really differentiate between the two, and we try and bring them together.
But like the OWL exams, no?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone noticed the OWL exam papers. We just couldn't resist making them really complicated. We had the whole art department folding paper, and instead of just having a sheet of paper, we knew they were going to fly, so we wanted them to have lots of layers.
And they didn't tell us before that they needed like thousands, no one they should have seen. So we had to be all night folding. Even the stewards on the place.
Our boss was quite cross, actually.
All right, so let's see. Steven, what do you got?
Hi there, I have Aviram from Venezuela.
Yeah, well, first of all...
Hello, from Brazil.
Yeah,
hello.
We're neighbors. Well, first of all, thank you for such an amazing job. I have two questions. First, what is your definition of creativity? How you define creativity? And second, how your creative process work?
What's your definition of creativity, and how does your creative process work?
I think being creative is expressing yourself and not necessarily having to always or ever feel you need to look out for and try and imitate something else, and stick with the thing that you think works for you and expresses yourself. I mean, obviously we had a brief to stick to, but within that we still found a way of expressing our own language. I think that
we were quite lucky because in the script and in the book, the reference and the descriptions of the props were not very detailed, so we could go really crazy and hoping that J.K. Rowling would like the things that we were doing, and I hope she liked them.
I think she did. I think it works out well. Aaron, what do you got?
We have Aiden here from Port St. Lucie, Florida, with a two-part question for you guys.
First, I just want to say thank you for making this amazing objects for us to enjoy. What was the hardest, the easiest, and the most fun objects that you've made? And thank you again.
I think the hardest was the Marauders map.
Mostly because it kept going through these changes, and as I said in the presentation, it needed to respect the architecture, and Alfonso Cuarón was quite demanding and kept pushing for more and more detail, although I'm really glad he did, and you are working in a team, so you have to do that, you have to get on with it. And then the easiest thing...
I think there was anything that was...
I mean, in a way, the Weasley shop, because it was just like, going back to the creative thing, it was just like imagination, just let it go and go crazy.
Because we could go back and be two teenagers and do the things that they would do.
Yeah. There's so much humour in Harry Potter, and we were able to latch onto that, and instead of just the darkness, we were able to use that. And the other thing was the funnest thing, the whole lot, the whole damn lot. It was like, really, I mean, there was lots of just going to work every day, but you can see, I think for everyone, I think for every department, there was,
but to create like things like pixie puffs, no, and what's the name of the other one? the serial. We had to invent all those things because we couldn't use anything that is in the real world. So we have to come up with every single thing. It was from scratch.
It's a lot to come up with from scratch. All right, Jason, what do you got, man?
I am with Thea from Missouri.
Hi, I was just curious, is there any advice you would like to give to someone who's interested in becoming a graphic designer?
Keep your eyes open, just keep absorbing as much and accumulating your own archive of reference. It doesn't have to be books about typography or about other people's graphic design. Funnily enough, we have very few books on that, but it might be that you're walking up there and you see an interesting texture on a wall, photograph it, put it in your archive, and find old typefaces in an old advertisement and scan them if you've got a scanner. You don't need much, a scanner and Photoshop, you know, it's...
And the other thing, just don't worry about too much about the computers. The computers will be there, the software will be there, Photoshop will be there. Just train your hand and do the most you can with your hand.
Yeah,
if you paint or if you draw or anything with your hands will be much better for you in the future.
Good advice. Julia.
We're up here, Austin. I have Kiernan from Orlando.
Hi, I was just wondering what type of schooling you have to go through to do all this.
What kind of schooling did you have to go through?
I did graphic design school. I went to my course is called Visual Communication, but was just about graphic design.
And that was in Brazil, and I studied in the UK, and I went to art school specifically to do theatre design, so stage design, and then I went to film school to study film design, and kind of ended up doing this. So it doesn't have to be a specific line, it's really just finding something that you love and sticking with it.
And the good thing that people that wants to do graphic design for film is not a very popular job yet. When you started, there was just you and maybe 3 other people doing graphics for films, and now it's growing, but it's still a very niche.
And I might just say that doing graphic design for films is very rarely like this. Quite often you'll all have seen films where you won't have realised that a graphic designer has had to do the menus and the posters and the signs in the train station and the signage on I don't know, a rocket launcher or something. So quite often it's the peripheral stuff that someone's had to research and get right. And for example, we just finished a Second World War film. We had to make sure that the documents were absolutely exact to the period. So completely different from this, but equally interesting because you're having to research and reproduce it correctly so that the audience doesn't have to think, is that right or not?